Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Working Wednesday. We had our Tech Tuesday last night, and we're doing our Working Wednesday this week. I know we skipped last week. It was due to other circumstances, but we are carrying on this week. And I'm doing a training on business and the business of residual income, what Jordan Adler refers to as beach money. And beach money, in his definition, is if you wake up in the morning, basically, and you look out and you decide, hey, it's a great day today, I think I'm going to go down to the beach. You can go ahead, go to the beach, and you earn money anyway. Or, as Janet likes to say, you wake up in the morning, you open the curtain, and it's raining out there, and you go, I really don't feel like going out or going to do anything today. So you go back to bed, but you earn money anyway. Whereas if you're in a job, which is linear income, if it's raining out there, you have to go to work. If it's a good day out there, you have to go to work. Because if you don't go to work, you don't earn any money. So with residual income, which is the business that we're in, you earn money regardless of if you actually go to work or not. That is the ultimate goal, because it's money that comes in regardless of where you are or what you are doing. So let me pick up, if you missed last week's one, the recording is up, so please feel free to go back and check it out. Just look for Working Wednesday and you will see it. So I'm going to pick up where I left off the last time and share my screen. Let's just get rid of these goodies. And shrink me down. Okay. So we are covering the interesting debate of how to get paid big money, whether you go to work or not. And work, in some of our language, is a bit of a four-letter word. So true financial wealth is created through leverage. If you listen to any of the big guys like Robert Kiyosaki or Bill Gates or any of these guys who are extremely wealthy, none of them work for a salary, but they've leveraged what they can do. And that is where true financial wealth comes from. Leverage makes earning a lot of money easier than working for your money. Because if you're working for your money, there's only one of you, and there's only so much time in the day that you can be earning some income. Because if you don't go to work, you don't earn an income. If you call in sick and you're too sick to actually do anything, you don't earn anything. If you go on holiday, you don't earn anything. Because if you're an employee, you might earn money for a few days while you're on holiday. But if you took a month off or 2 months off, you probably won't be earning a lot of money. So when you work hard for your money, it's all about what you do. As I said, every single person on this planet has 24 hours available to them. We all know the importance of sleep because you should be getting at least 8 hours sleep a day. So what do you do with the remainder of your time? If you are like the vast majority of the population on the planet, you work for at least 8 hours a day. So that's 16 hours already gone. What do you do with the balance of your time? Because that's where you create your leverage. Some people play golf. Some people sit and watch Netflix. Some people sit and play on their phone. But it's all wasting time. What you need to do is you need to leverage that time. And you can create a lot more effective timing out of the little bit of time that you've got by simply leveraging it. When you have leverage, it's very little about what you do and everything about what you start. Remember, Amazon started with the idea of one person to sit in a garage and start to sell books online. Bill Gates started Microsoft with an idea. And he took that idea and leveraged it. And look where Microsoft is today. All of these big companies, I've often jokingly said that if you want to make a lot of money, you need to find somebody's garage. Because it seems like most big companies that I'm aware of started in somebody else's garage. Bell Equipment up in Pangeni is a good example of that. Amazon is a good example of that. There's quite a few others out there. I think even Facebook started there too, for that matter. Facebook started in a university dormitory. But all these things started with an idea, and they started an organization, which led into a company. So income that you earn from your own work is linear income. Income you earn from the work of others is non-linear. Linear income is work once, paid once. Non-linear income is work once, get paid continuously. That is leverage. And the most well-known examples of that is an author who writes a book once and gets paid a small commission every single time somebody purchases that book. Or a songwriter or a singer, they do the job once, they record the song, and every time that song is played on the radio or sold through iTunes or wherever, they get paid a commission. Exactly the same as a movie star generally, where a movie is created, and every time that that movie is shown or at a movie house, sorry, or watched on Netflix or sold via video, if we're dating ourselves over here, they get paid a commission. We don't have to have all those fancy things to be able to do the same thing. And we need to break it down into 3 steps. So the most complicated things can usually be broken down into 3 basic, easy steps. The biggest challenge is to strip away all the extra stuff and stick to the basics. It sounds so simple because we tend to like to complicate things, whereas if we keep it simple, it's a lot easier. So take flying as an example. The 3 things you need to learn is you need to be able to take off, you need to be able to fly, and you need to be able to land. 3 basic things. Master these, and you are a pilot. Looks like my video has gone all wobbly over there, so we'll just, there we go. Obviously, there's a lot more involved than these 3 basic things, but I've played around with flight simulators before, and it literally is that. You get the aircraft revved up to speed, you take it off, you fly it, and you have a controlled crash at the other end. And that is what every single pilot in the world does. Take it off, fly it, and then they have a controlled crash at the end. And it's as simple as that. If you complicate it and think about all the navigation, what does this switch do, and what does that button do, and which does this pedal work, and all the rest, you will panic and you won't know what to do. But stick with the basics. So the first thing that you need to do is you write down the 3 things that you want to buy or do in the next 3 months. Don't worry about all the fancy bits and the technical bits. Just what do you want to buy? What do you want to do in the next 3 months? Ground rules. Number 1, your 3 goals need to get you really excited. If you've ever planned a trip, think of a cruise or think of going to Sun City in the beginning of next year with Charlie, is it going to get you excited? Or if you think of a long road journey, is it going to get you excited or not? If you think of having to do your tax returns, you're probably not going to get too excited about that. But you want to think about things a little bit more exciting than that. You must be able to do or schedule each item on your list within 3 months. So don't plan a year in advance. We are now in month 3 of the year. Very scary thought that day 1 of month 3 is gone of 2023. So we're now going to plan for the next 3 months, which will take us, what's this, March, April, May, take us to the end of May. What things are going to get you really excited? What are you going to be able to schedule and do in the next 3 months? Don't be practical. You have permission to splurge. Now, planning a trip around the world on the QE2 in the next 3 months probably isn't really going to be feasible unless you've been planning it for a while already. However, planning to go to a business presentation in Durban in the next weekend is something that can be done. How are you going to get there and all the rest? Don't worry about that. But that's just a very simple idea. Maybe you want to go up to Joburg for a weekend and splurge. So think about those things. But you need to limit that list to just 3 items. Don't get carried away. After you've accomplished the first 3 goals, you can do the exercise again with the next goals. So my goal in the next 3 months is to get 3 people signed up. Will it be 3 in 1 month? I don't know. But my goal is to get at least 3 people sponsored into my business in the next 3 months. I need to get excited about that because I know by doing that, it's going to get me to be able to step up. We'll get into this a little bit later. What are your 3 goals? The next step, what actions will you take right away to begin to move you towards these things that you'll be getting in the next 3 months? What are you going to do? Are you just going to pray about it? Are you going to think about it? You've written it down. Is that as far as it's going to go? Or are you actually going to start to do some action? But you need to limit your action to 3 things. So what 3 things can you do in the next 3 months to move you towards accomplishing your 3 dreams? Draw up a name list. Pick up the phone. Message somebody. Email somebody. Arrange a meeting with somebody. Those are actions. Step 3 is you need to expect and allow the universe to provide you with all the resources you need to attain the 3 things that you've written down. So, I don't know what you've written down. Be imaginative with your goals. Because, as has been said, and honestly, I can't tell you from first-hand experience if this works or how it works. I have had experience with this before where I've thought about something and I've really, really wanted it and it happens. I don't know how, but it happens. And that, they tell me, is the universe. So this step 3 is not a to-do step. It's a releasing step. The letting go step. So simply steps 1 and 2, and then let go of the outcome. So you want to go down to Cape Town for a weekend. So you've written down, I'm going to Cape Town in the next 3 months, and I'm going to be a tourist for a weekend. How are you going to get there? Where are you going to stay? Where are you going to get the money? Don't worry about those things. Plan it and do it. Sign these things again. And you need to expect good things to happen. If you just have at the back of your mind a thought that, what if? It's not going to happen. Because that little thought can be like a short circuit in your car. If you've ever had a fancy car and you drive along and the thing suddenly cuts out, sometimes all it is a little fuse that is blown. But your nice fancy car with all the bells and whistles will come to a grinding halt on the side of the road if that one little fuse blows. And that's what happens with our thoughts. If you just allow one tiny little thought of doubt creep in, the good things are not going to happen. So you need to expect the good things to happen. Keep it simple enough that an 8-year-old can do it and teach it. So don't complicate things. There's that old system that they talk about, KISS. Keep it simple. We won't tell you what the other S stands for, but keep it simple. We've heard Charlie say this on countless occasions. Don't overcomplicate the business. Keep it simple. We know the 3 basic success habits. We've got to use our products. We've got to share our products. We've got to share the business. And we've got to develop ourselves personally every single day. 3 simple steps. Don't worry about what products am I going to use. Don't worry about who am I going to share this with today. Don't worry about, oh no, I haven't got any names to talk to about with the business today. And I really didn't feel like it. It was a bad day today, and traffic was a nightmare, and the boss was upset with me, and things just didn't work out. No, you've got to do the 3 basics, and you need to keep it simple. Can an 8-year-old do our business? I think so. Can we explain it to them as such? I think so, because we don't do a business of sales. We simply do a business of sharing. I was listening to somebody on a podcast this morning, and before he got involved, a friend of his came to him and he said, I really admire what you do, and would you be open to looking at a business? And he happened to share the products with this gentleman, and the guy said, really not interested in that stupid story. I don't do those things. I really like your product, however, and I'm more than happy to share that with my friends and family. And this friend looked at him and he said, but that's what the business is. And he went, what do you mean? He said, you like the product, you're going to tell your friends and family about it. That's what the business is. And he went, oh. And then decided to check it out. And today he is a 6-figure earner in a well-established business. Your mind, this little thing over here inside this fishbowl, is an extremely powerful computer. It controls how you feel, and how you feel determines what you attract. And your mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is not. This still blows my mind, and there's still a lot of this stuff that I don't understand, because I'm a practical person and I go from point A to point B, but this other bits and pieces, I don't always understand it, but I don't need to understand it. We were talking just now before supper about reading books or watching movies. And my wife's comment was, when you read a book, you have the most dramatic, vibrant movie in your head of what that book is. For the readers, what do you think about? Do you picture specific things when you read a book, specifically a novel? I'm not talking about your study books and motivation books. I'm talking specifically about a novel. When you read a novel, what sort of imagination comes up? And if you've ever read a book and then watch the movie, how does it compare? Personally, I hate watching a movie after I've read a book, because in most cases, the characters don't come even close to what I've imagined them in my little mind over here. Your imagination can create and it can destroy. Who ever thought that one day cars would drive themselves? Who ever thought that one day you could hold a piece of plastic or glass or metal or whatever it is in your hand and talk to somebody on the other side of the world and look them in the eye when you're doing it? Who would have thought that I could sit in my house in Shelley Beach and talk to you sitting in the Eastern Cape, which is an over 8-hour drive away, or sitting in Durban, which is over a 2-hour drive away? But you watching me, you hearing me, you're watching what is on my computer. Who thought that that was even a possibility? But your imagination can destroy too, because it's, but what if? Ever caught yourself saying those words? Yes, it's wonderful, but what if? No. Often when something is not going exactly the way you want it to, you have created a scenario in your mind that is taking power away from what you say you want. I want to do X, Y, Z, but ABC has happened. Be careful of that. Regardless of whether your thoughts are based on reality or not, your feelings are real, and they determine what you attract. And to understand that, if you've ever watched a movie, specifically a movie that you've watched before, and it's a tearjerker movie, do you cry the first time, the second time, the third time? That is your feelings and your mind. You know it's just a story. You know what the outcome is because you've watched the story before. But your thoughts will bring the tears coming out every time. So we try a new perspective. Have you ever been told you were lucky or unlucky? Do you tend to focus more on your problems or your solutions? Sometimes you get so focused on your problems, you forget to do the basics needed to build and develop a solid business. But what if they think I'm doing a silly thing? But what if they think I'm trying to scam them? But what if they're going to laugh at me? But what if they tell me that that's just one of those stupid things, it's a sales gimmick and I don't do sales? But what if they say, yes, that sounds interesting, I would like to know more? To achieve your dreams, you need to focus on creating your future. And again, to be honest, I do have difficulty with this because, as I said, I'm a practical person. And the thought of me flying overseas in a first-class seat doesn't really compute. But the thought of me standing on a stage in Bloemfontein talking to 1,200 people also never featured until I was there. The thought of somebody saying, oh, by the way, you're up in this panel, and nobody had told me about it beforehand, and I got up, did my session, and sat down, and afterwards they went, oh, you weren't supposed to be there. I would never have done that before if it hadn't have been for me being able to overpower my mind and the practicalities and all the thoughts and things. The thought of me sitting here talking to you 10 years ago would have scared me silly, and I would have told you, not going to happen. So to achieve your dreams, you need to focus on creating your future, the positive future, not the negative. When things get tough, focus your attention on your ultimate destination, not your current situation. And this is why they always tell us to put up a vision and a dream board, because reality is very stark and it's very real. Because if you're sitting outside in a pouring rain, it's cold and wet and you're shivering. But if you're thinking about sitting on a beach in Mauritius with the sun shining, if your imagination is strong enough, you won't be so cold and wet anymore. You might still be wet. Physically, you might still be wet. Physically, you might still be cold. But if your imagination and your focus and your attention is somewhere else, you will immediately start to feel warmer. When you see yourself as unlucky, your subconscious mind begins to look for and find evidence that supports that belief. I hesitate to say, try it, because you'll be shocked at how effective that is. So you need to work on the opposite and think about the good things. If you identify yourself as successful and really believe it, you will begin to attract success. This is where the power of self-talk comes in. We've heard all the guys tell us, Charlie, Roger, Louis, everybody will always tell us, talk positive, feed positive, because I know personally, negative takes over so incredibly easy. If you've ever cultivated a garden, you will know that your vegetables, you will battle to get them to grow. The weeds, they grow whether there's rain, whether there's water, whether there's heat, whether there's fertilizer or not. The weeds grow anyway. Do your plants always grow? No. That is how negative and the positive works right here. Your subconscious mind will actually draw to you all that is consistent with whom you know yourself to be. Have you ever been inspired by someone? Think of somebody who you look up to and admire. Have you ever met someone and realized you didn't want to live their life? Called reverse inspiration. Now, Jordan Adler talks about a neighbor that he used to live next to, who was an overweight gentleman, was divorced, and was a chronic smoker and an alcoholic, and was always in a horrible state of depression. And he looked at this man and he went, I don't want to end up there. And that was his inspiration to improve himself. There's that old story about the two twins, and the one was always negative, one was always positive. And for their birthday the one year, their father decided to play a trick on them. So he got a couple of bags of horse manure and he dumped it in the room. And he opened the door and said, before he opened the door, he said, guess what? I've got a surprise for you. And he opened the door and the negative twin looked in and he went, oh, the stench. How could you do this to me? Why have you given me this bag of manure? And his brother, the positive one, looked in and went, wow, with all this manure around here, there's got to be a horse somewhere. All depends on how you look at the situation. Think about a single decision you made, maybe 10 years ago, that completely altered the course of your life. And I'd say, think about the decision you made when you joined this business. Envision the most important person in your life today. How is your life different today because you met that person? If you have a dream or desire, you can prepare for it. But there comes a time when you actually just need to take action. You can plan a holiday for a year, but if you don't make the phone call to book the tickets or make the bookings online, you're not going to get there. I know some of us have already planned to go to the Impact Summit in October. I haven't planned the specific flight yet. I haven't even planned where we're going to stay. But I've planned to be there. I've booked my ticket. I've paid for my ticket. But if I don't take it any further than that, I'm never going to get to Pretoria. I have to take the action of booking accommodation, booking a flight ticket, planning how I'm going to get there from where I am here. Learning everything you need to know before doing it will tie your brain into little knots. Just like flying a hang glider, sometimes there is no logical or sane reason to do it other than that you have a dream that needs to be played out in your life. Learn the fundamentals and then just go and do it. As they say, you often learn to fly after you jump off the cliff. Have faith that you will know what to do when you need to do it. If you wait for all your questions to be answered, you will never do what you need to do to create the positive results you're looking for. So don't think about, but what if they ask me this question? But what if they ask me that question? But what if they make that statement? Just pick up the phone. Hi, Fred. How are you doing? Listen, I was thinking about you today. And I found this amazing opportunity that may or may not work for you, but I would like you to refer some people to me. But before we do that, I don't know if this opportunity will be something that would be of interest to you. But before you refer some people to me, I know you would like to know what it is that I do. May I have 5 minutes of your time to show you? And then you do your thing. Don't think about all the what ifs. Just go. That's where I'm going to stop for now. We've got about 4 minutes left. Does anybody have any comments or questions before I stop the recording?